I thought we would discuss stage lighting in this video, a bit of lighting 101. So we'll start by getting right down to the nuts and bolts of things. These are grade 8 bolts, 5/8 inch diameter, and they use a 15/16 wrench or socket. Some truss, instead of using bolts, will use pins. For truss that bolts together, grade 8 is what is almost exclusively used. Some lighter duty truss and applications might use grade 5. You never want to use standard bolts and nuts for truss overhead. Whether your truss pins together or bolts together, there are things to watch for. Pay attention to the position of your diagonals. Your diagonals should face the audience, and they should continue to flow in the same direction as you put your trusses together. Up, down, up, down. This maintains maximum strength across the length of the truss. While you can visually see this as you lay out your truss, you can also mark the trusses to make this process quicker. Always confirm your bolts are all tightened and the truss is in the proper orientation. Let's move on to fixtures. Besides clamps, the fixtures, at least the ones going in the air, should also have a safety cable or cables. Many times, it's just called a safety, and it's a steel rope with a clip. It's there to hold the fixture in case of a clamp failure. Let's talk about labels. It's important to label your fixtures, no matter if you use trees, truss, or just set them on the deck. That way, your DMX addressing can stay the same at each venue, and you know what position to hang the fixtures. The benefit in that is your console DMX patch doesn't have to change for every show. A console will have one or more DMX universes. A universe consists of 512 channels per universe. A DMX fixture will require one or more channels depending on the fixture. This is where DMX addressing comes in. For example, if a fixture requires 9 DMX channels and we set that fixture's DMX address as 01, then it will use up 9 channels of that DMX universe. That means the next fixture will then be able to be addressed at DMX 10. In theory, you can keep going until you've filled up all 512 channels available in that universe. But there's a caveat. Best practice is to limit the fixture count to 32 fixtures on a DMX line. So then, how do you manage that limitation for larger shows? This is where DMX Splitters comes into the picture. A DMX splitter will allow you to bring one DMX line in from one DMX universe on the lighting console and then send several DMX lines out of that splitter. You're still limited to 512 total channels on that universe, but now you have multiple DMX lines that can each have up to 32 fixtures on them. And while that might sound unnecessary for smaller shows, there's actually another benefit to a DMX splitter. You can use the splitter to keep you from having to chain all the lights together on one big long daisy chain of DMX connections. You can send one line out to your upstage truss, another out to your downstage left light tree, another out to your downstage right light tree or truss, and another to any deck fixtures or hazers. Not only can this simplify your setup, but it makes troubleshooting a lot easier. Since they're isolated splits, a problem cable or fixture won't cause the entire light show to have troubles. And also, each universe can have its own DMX splitter if needed. Staying on the subject of DMX, let's talk about the cables. I don't want to open a huge can of worms, but technically a DMX cable will have 5 pins. But usually only 3 pins are actually used. That's why you see DMX cables and fixtures with 3-pin XLRs sometimes. This can create some confusion with mic cables because a mic cable is not a DMX cable and is not suitable to use as a DMX cable. DMX cable has a higher impedance, 110 to 120 ohms, versus mic cable, and as such is suitable for DMX data transmission. The connector is not what makes a cable suitable for DMX. It's the cable itself that is important. One of these is a mic cable. The other is a DMX cable. But both have a 3-pin XLR. Without markings, it's next to impossible to tell them apart. Just because the plug fits doesn't mean it's okay to use it. If you use a mic cable in place of a DMX cable, the longer the cable or the more mic cables that you use, the greater the chance of having erratic problems with the lighting. Sometimes intermittent, sometimes continuous. A mic cable might work in a pinch, but the problem is they work until they don't. Whether you buy 3-pin or 5-pin cables for your fixtures, always make sure it's designated as DMX cable. Even take time to mark them so you know what cables are your DMX cables. Many modern fixtures will have Powercon connectors for AC, and they could have an in and out for daisy chaining the fixtures. Blue is the in and gray or white is the out. If you're going to daisy chain fixtures, it's important to pay attention to the manufacturer's spec on how many fixtures can be connected together on one circuit. You'll also want larger gauge power cables to handle the added load on the circuit. Cheaper fixtures might cut corners by shipping with a power cable that isn't suitable for being used when daisy chaining fixtures. True 1 connectors are gaining in popularity, so you're likely to see more of these coming in the future. These are not interchangeable with Powercons, but they offer advantages over Powercons. Technically, Powercons are not supposed to be connected live, while True 1 cables can be connected live without any concerns. A True 1 connector makes the ground connection first, just like an Edison connector when connecting it, while a Powercon does not. True 1s have true opposite gender connectors and can be extended just like a regular AC cable. Powercons cannot directly connect to each other. And True 1s have a weather rating, IP65. IP65 equals water resistant. I haven't done much in the way of lighting videos on here, but if you'd like to see more of these, let me know in the comments below. Here's another video you might want to check out. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.